that he's hiring on his team. Such a move also drawing swift reaction from Democrats. The ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, tweeting, if President fired Bob Mueller, Congress would immediately reestablish independent counsel and appoint Bob Mueller. Don't waste our time. Mr. Reddy was indeed at the White House yesterday meeting with aides. However, the White House is pushing back on Reddy's comments, saying he never met with the president. Sean Spicer releasing this statement, quote, Mr. Reddy never spoke to the president regarding this issue. With respect to this subject, only the president or his attorneys are authorized to comment. So get ready, guys. Jeff Sessions appears at 2:30 today, and it's unclear whether or not he'll also testify in a closed-door classified briefing as Comey did last time.
Yeah, after a couple hours of public. Okay, yeah. Griff, thanks so much.
Thank you, Griff. Well, our very own Tucker Carlson, host of Tucker Carlson Tonight, challenging the collusion conspiracy theories head on.
Sessions may strike you as an unlikely Putin conspirator, having spent virtually all of his 70 years living in or representing Alabama. That's an awfully long way from Moscow in every sense. Doesn't matter. Everyone affiliated with the administration is a potential suspect these days. Sessions says that as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, he talked on 2 separate occasions with the Russian ambassador to the United States. According to top Democrats, Sessions must resign immediately. Almost all the claims you hear about Russia are general rather than specific. Russia hacked our election. We hear that line almost every day. How exactly did Russia hack our election? Well, comes the answer, they just did. All 17 intelligence agencies say they did. Okay, but can you be more specific? It's a pretty serious charge, and it might be nice to have some details. They can't provide those details, or they won't. Character assassination is always easier than making a sensible argument. Which brings us back to Jeff Sessions. Sessions was forced to recuse himself from a major Justice Department investigation into Russia and then fend off insinuations that he somehow committed treason because of those meetings. This kind of thing is happening all over Washington right now. Guilt by association, attack by innuendo, classic witch hunt stuff. You ought to be worried about it, too, because if Jeff Sessions can be denounced as a Russian spy, anyone can be.
Well, a Fox News alert and a disturbing threat amid the recent wave of global terror. It is not over, and America is next. That's the threat. A new ISIS audio message spreading online telling supporters to carry out attacks during Ramadan, not just in Europe, but in the United States as well. The group praising attacks in the first weeks of Ramadan, including London, Manchester, and in Iran. Attacks that killed dozens and wounded hundreds of people. The holy month ends on June 24th. The bodies of 3 fallen Army Rangers are back on American soil. Vice President Mike Pence on hand for the dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The Pentagon now identifying those soldiers killed in combat. Corporal Dylan Baldridge, Sergeant Eric Hauk, and Sergeant William Hayes. All 3 served with the 101st Airborne Division. They were killed in an insider attack by an Afghan soldier they were there to support, and al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility.
Just 25, 22, and 29 years old. Well, a massive manhunt, meantime, intensifying this morning after a police officer is shot and killed in the line of duty. Police say that Lieutenant Patrick Weatherford was responding to a call near Little Rock, Arkansas last night when he was ambushed. Police say that they are following a lead. Lieutenant Weatherford was a 15-year department veteran. He was just 41 years old. And another desperate hunt, this one for 4 inmates who escaped, including an accused killer, also intensifying at this hour. The men sneaking out through the ventilation system inside a jail in Oklahoma. And it is deja vu for authorities, 2 of them breaking out the same way earlier this year. Police say that the inmates, who are considered armed and dangerous, are still in this stolen red Dodge truck. So take a look.
President Trump heading to Wisconsin today to meet with victims of sorts of Obamacare.
This as more insurers pull the plug on the program. Kelly Wright joins us now with the steps that the Trump administration is taking today. Good morning, Kelly.
Some tough steps to take as well. Good morning to you. More insurers, as you stated, are pulling out of Obamacare, and because of that, health care insurance premiums continue to rise in price. President Trump will travel to Wisconsin today to meet with people losing their insurance under the Affordable Care Act. And later today, Vice President Mike Pence will join him to get an update on the Senate's new plan to replace and repeal Obamacare. GOP sources say they'd like to get the measure passed by July 4th, but a Republican leader says Democrats are not helping to fix the mess they created.
Obamacare never actually lived up to what Democrats had promised. From rising costs to shrinking choices and collapsing markets, the problems associated with Obamacare grew across the country as the years passed, leaving the American people literally to pick up the pieces.
Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer firing back, accusing Republicans of lacking what he calls transparency.
This is a party that chanted, "Read the bill, read the bill," when Obamacare was being debated, and now they won't even show the bill.
And during a meeting with his cabinet at the White House, President Trump blasted Democrats for not helping to develop a plan to improve health care.
They're obstructionists, and that's sad. But we are coming up with something that I believe will be very good, with zero support from the obstructionist Democrats. Sad.
So here's where we stand. Both sides of the aisle are blaming each other, which happens in Washington, and time is running short to reach a consensus by July 4th. And millions of Americans are facing the possibility of losing health care coverage or paying skyrocketing premiums. Heather.
All right.
All getting caught up in politics with all this. All right.
Time is of the
Thanks so much, Kelly.
essence, though. Thank you. Well, President Trump's border order battle, that's still going on, and it is now gearing up for a Supreme Court showdown after another legal setback. A federal appeals court ruling again that it violates the Constitution by targeting Muslims. But the White House is optimistic that the nation's top court will reinstate it.
We're currently reviewing that opinion. I think we can all attest that these are very dangerous times, and we need every available tool at our disposal to prevent terrorists from entering the United States and committing acts of bloodshed and violence. We continue to be confident that the President's executive order to protect this country is fully lawful. Any lawyer worth their salt 100% agrees that the President is fully within his rights and his responsibilities to do what is necessary to protect the country.
Well, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has very strong words, though, for those against the immigration order, telling the Daily Caller that if anyone in his state is harmed, quote, the blood is on their hands.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement making over 100 criminal arrests in just 1 week. It was all part of a massive sweep in New Jersey. The Newark field office locking up 113 suspects accused of committing crimes ranging from narcotics possession to homicide charges. Officials say 93% of those arrested are convicted criminals already, and 87% have felony convictions.
Well, let's take a look at some extreme weather now. Twisters violently rattling multiple states. This violent force caught on camera. Look, this was inside Cheyenne, Wyoming. Can you imagine seeing that?
Wow, that's a nice looking twister there. It's just one of at least 23 reported tornadoes in that state. Colorado and Nebraska Monday afternoon as well. Janice Seen live in the studio tracking those storms. Some good video there.
Lots of people close to that one.
Right.
Incredible video. And yesterday we had a particularly dangerous tornado watch in those areas to make sure people were aware of the situation. Close to 36 reports of tornadoes yesterday in all of those states that you mentioned: Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska. Hundreds of reports of severe storms, including hail and damaging winds. That system actually producing snow in the higher elevations, going to move across the northern plains and the upper Midwest today. So large hail, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes possible. And then the other big story we are watching is the extreme heat. You can see how cold it is out west. Part of the ingredients that we need for that tornadic activity, the clash of the two air masses. Well, we've got very warm temperatures, record-setting warmth again today for 2/3 of the country. A lot of 90s here, heat indexes well into the 90s, up towards 100 degrees, and that's going to be really dangerous. So people need to take precautions. Certainly, we're going to flirt with records again today. Dozens of records set yesterday, and then as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, the heat is going to break. So that's the good news. If you can stay indoors, air conditioning, check on the elderly and your kids, and bring your pets inside as well. Heather, Rob, back to you.
Yeah, we're going to get enough of this heat in July and August.
Yeah, that's right. It's here, though, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Janice,
you.
thanks so much.
Of course.
All right, going to talk some sports here. The Golden State Warriors refusing to repeat history.
Yeah, bringing the heat. Kevin Durant helping the team avenge last year's loss with sweet victory in the NBA Finals.
There it is, redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete.
Durant lifting the Warriors to a 129-120 victory over LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 5. It is the Warriors' second title in 3 years, the very first team for the team's newest member, who is Kevin Durant. So good for them.
These teams are getting kind of stacked in the NBA. There's a lot of complaints about that.
I know. So, that's a good one, though. Well, the time now is 11 minutes after the top of the hour, and red flags now being raised over Robert Mueller as Republicans call for his removal from the Russian investigation. Why our next guest, a former prosecutor, says that Mueller should not be fired.
To cover it up kind of hurt a lot, and you know, you can't just cover this up.
Well, it's a talker. American pride denied. Hear from the principal who refused to allow an Army reservist receive his diploma while wearing his military uniform.
And Barron Trump's T-shirt. Did you see this? It is drawing some major attention on Twitter, and we'll talk about it. The expert.
Democrats, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, tweeting, if President
I think that the people Mueller's bringing in
would
are
immediately
dangerous people,
independent
and any
counsel
Republican who thinks this council is going to be neutral is crazy.
Mr. Reddy was indeed at the White House yesterday meeting with aides. However, the White House is pushing back on Reddy's comments, saying he never met with the president. Sean Spicer releasing this statement, quote, Mr. Reddy never spoke to the president regarding this issue with respect to this subject. Only the president or his attorneys are authorized to comment.
Now with more. Thank you for joining us again this morning.
My pleasure. Jeff Sessions
we were just discussing the connection between the two. I mean, they're friends outside of the court, and that's indisputable. So will that influence impact the case, or should Mueller recuse himself?
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Griff.
Firstly, a
Well, our very
prosecutor
own
is
Tucker
powerful,
Carlson,
but a
host of
prosecutor
Tucker
isn't
Carlson
omnipowerful. A
tonight,
prosecutor
challenging
can't
the collusion
single-handedly
conspiracy
convict someone
theories
or can't
head
single-handedly
on.
punish someone. That's ultimately left to
Sessions
a
may
trier
strike you
of
as
fact,
an
like a judge or a jury, or
conspirator,
in the case of
having spent
impeachment
virtually
of the
all of
Congress.
his 70
So
years
that's a little
living
context
in
there. Also,
or
just speaking from personal
Alabama,
experience as a
that's
former
an awfully long
prosecutor,
way from Moscow
I did
in
that job
every
for
sense.
13
Doesn't
years.
matter.
So over the course of those 13
Everyone
years,
affiliated with the
there
administration
were officers,
is a
detectives that I
potential
worked with
suspect
over and
these
over again.
days.
So inevitably,
Sessions says that as a member of the Senate Armed Services
notwithstanding, I've been at a couple of colleagues who married NYPD members,
with the
but
Russian
notwithstanding
ambassador to the
the
United States.
inevitability of those friendships, you still count on a prosecutor to be fair, to look at everyone's credibility independently, and also look for corroborating evidence before bringing a charge.
But what about when the credibility of the person himself, being Comey, is called into question by his own testimony, where he admitted that he was in fact the leaker of these memos, and he did it so that he would influence the appointment of a special prosecutor that ended up being, of course, his friend.
They can't provide those details, or they won't.
What you hope is,
Character
because the standard of proof is still incredibly high, the highest standard of proof in the system,
brings us back to Jeff Sessions. Sessions was forced to recuse himself from a major Justice Department investigation into Russia, and then fend off insinuations that he somehow committed treason because of those meetings. This kind of thing is happening all over Washington right now. Guilt by association, attack by innuendo, classic witch hunt stuff. You ought to be worried about it, too, because if Jeff Sessions can be denounced as a Russian spy, anyone can be.
Because of the friendship, then to perhaps step back and
from that part
and give that portion of the investigation to somebody else.
Amid the recent wave of global terror, it is not over, and America is next. That's the threat. A new ISIS audio message spreading online, telling supporters to carry out attacks during Ramadan, not just in Europe, but in the United States as well. The group praising attacks in the first weeks of Ramadan, including London, Manchester, and in Iran. Attacks that killed dozens and wounded hundreds of people. The Holy Month ends on June 24th. The bodies of three fallen Army Rangers are back on American soil. Vice President Mike Pence on hand for the dignified transfer of Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The Pentagon now identifying those soldiers killed in combat.
For example, the tweets from the president.
Dylan Baldridge, Sergeant Eric Hauk, and Sergeant William Hayes. All three served with the 101st Airborne Division. They were killed in an insider attack by an Afghan soldier. They were there
to the extent that his credibility is impacted by that makes it less likely that a charge could be sustained against the president if you're relying on Comey's testimony to bring that charge.
But as you said, this morning after a police officer shot and killed in the line of duty,
as a prosecutor, you're supposed to be independent. You're supposed to look at all forms of corroboration, whether they help or hurt a particular witness.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be another big day today with session following the lead, which he requested to 15-year department veteran.
Maybe a smarter political move than a legal move, but he wants to get it all out in the open.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you so much, Elliot. Appreciate it. Who escaped, including an accused killer.
5:19 now. Time Warner under pressure for still sponsoring the Julius Caesar production, which shows the brutal assassination of President Trump, it appears. But according to CNN, who's underneath Time Warner's umbrella, this is a masterpiece. All right, a live look at northbound 6th Avenue, Midtown Manhattan, on what's going to be a very hot day in the city. Welcome back. Growing pressure on sponsors of the Shakespeare in the Park interpretation of Julius Caesar, depicting the assassination of what appears to be President Trump. American Express, reportedly the latest to drop support for this theater company, but the New York Times and CNN's parent company, Time Warner, are still on board. CNN anchor Fareed Zakaria openly tweeting praise, saying, if you're in NYC, go see Julius Caesar free in Central Park. Brilliantly interpreted for Trump era, a masterpiece. The theater company now saying the controversy was expected and the performance in no way advocates violence toward anyone. Heather.
Well, outrage is boiling over after a mayor removed the president's portrait from Town Hall, replacing it with this. It is a picture of a well-known Native American warrior. Jackson, Wyoming Mayor Pete Muldoon defending his decision, saying that he isn't required to display signs of respect and that honoring the President of the United States means that the city is taking sides. Now, the county commissioner is calling the move totally disrespectful.
All right, a Fox Business alert, make America work again. President Trump and his daughter Ivanka heading to Wisconsin today in a major push for jobs.
Tracy Carrasco from our sister network, Fox Business, here now with the agenda. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, guys. Now, President Trump and his daughter hitting the road to Wisconsin today to meet with Governor Scott Walker to tour a technical college as the administration puts a renewed focus on job creation. This trip is just one event during Workforce Development Week, as they're calling it, to promote technical skills training and apprenticeships. First daughter and presidential advisor Ivanka is taking a leading role in the administration's initiative.
Okay, very cool. Also, we have Best Buy is going to let you try things out before you buy them. That's kind of cool.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's right. Now, that's what they're calling it. Try before you buy. Best Buy's new program will allow customers to do just that. Best Buy teaming up with an online rental startup called Lumoid to launch a program that allows customers to rent items like cameras, drones, and other gadgets before actually buying them. For example, you can get an Apple Watch, test it out for $50 a week. The service will be offered on Best Buy's website starting later this month.
Uh-oh, another one. P. Diddy and Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
This is surprising. P. Diddy, I mean, or Diddy, whatever they call him now. I can't believe that.
Where's he been? But you know what? He is now the top earner on Forbes' list of 100 highest paid celebrities, bringing in $130 million.
Wow.
Forbes says, yeah, Diddy's Bad Boy Family reunion tour, a stake in Ciroc Vodka, and the $70 million sale of part of his Sean John clothing line, all contributing to the earnings. Now coming in at second, Beyonce with $105 million, followed by author J.K. Rowling, rapper Drake, and soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo. Last year's top earner Taylor Swift, she dropped to number 49. She only brought in $44 million, down from $170. Now, she hasn't put out an album or toured since 2015, so that's probably why.
She's young. Yeah. She's got a ton of money. She said, I'm going to take a little break.
She keeps buying all those houses near her boyfriends.
Right,
That's what she keeps doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Go for it. All right, it's Taco Tuesday, huh?
It sure is. Taco Bell is giving away free tacos today. Customers can get one Doritos Locos taco at any of the restaurants from 2 to 6 p.m. This is part of a Steal a Game, Steal a Taco promotion during the NBA Finals. Of course, only available while supplies last. Maybe they should call it Steal a Championship, Steal a Taco.
Yeah.
Not bad. Hey, did you win Miss America? This kind of looks like a pageant thing here.
I sure did.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. It's Miss Fox News.
That's right, Miss Fox News.
Great to have you. Thank you. Well, the time now is 30 minutes after the top of the hour. And Dennis Rodman, have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah.
To the rescue. Again, the former NBA star heading back to North Korea as tensions reach a boiling point. What he hopes to accomplish.
It's getting very weird with Dennis Rodman. Faith under fire here. A football coach fired for praying with his players on the field. The new steps that he just took to prove he's not giving up the fight.
And the intense moment, a firefighter gets caught in this massive explosion and then amazingly lives to tell the story. Just hours, Attorney General Jeff Sessions will take the hot seat.
Yeah, the high-stakes hearing in the next round in the Russia probe taking place in full view of the cameras. And Griff Jenkins is live in D.C., where Sessions is preparing to tell his side of the story here. Hey, Griff.
Hey, Robin, Heather, that's right. The Attorney General will face tough questions this afternoon. Sure to come up, Sessions' contact with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, as well as accusations we heard from James Comey last week. But the White House says they welcome today's testimony so they can move on.
I think the president's been clear last week in the Rose Garden that he believes that the sooner we can get this addressed and dealt with, that there's been no collusion. He wants this to get investigated as soon as possible and be done with it so he can continue with the business of the American people.
This comes as new revelations that the president may be considering firing independent counsel Bob Mueller. Here's what Newsmax CEO and friend of the president Chris Ruddy had to say to PBS last night.
I think he's considering perhaps terminating the special counsel. I think he's weighing that option.
Mr. Ruddy was at the White House yesterday meeting with aides. However, the White House is pushing back on Ruddy's comments, saying he never met with the president. Sean Spicer releasing this statement. Mr. Ruddy never spoke to the president regarding this issue. With respect to this subject, only the president or his attorneys are authorized to comment. But such a move is drawing strong reaction from Democrats. The ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, says that if the president fired Mueller, Congress would simply reappoint him. And Minority Leader Chuck Schumer coming to Mueller's defense.
Mueller's a man of integrity. That's agreed to by just about everybody. He's devoted his entire career to his country. He came out of private life to do a job on behalf of his country and be right down the middle. Even Attorney General.
So the Sessions grilling begins at 2:30 today, guys. So get your popcorn and milk duds ready. Yet another breaking news day in Washington.
Yeah.
I love these Senate hearings. They're so fun.
Yeah.
Griff, thanks so much.
Thank you, Griff. Well, also in the hot seat today, as if that's not enough, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. It is the first in a series of 4 hearings this week expected to cover President Trump's budget, foreign affairs, and the alleged links between the Trump administration and Russia. Secretary Tillerson has not testified publicly since his confirmation hearing in January. That hearing dominated by questions of the secretary's own potential links to Russia when he was CEO of ExxonMobil.
Erratic North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un responding to President Trump's Twitter taunts by threatening to take out New York City. The intimidation tactic referring to a January tweet by our commander-in-chief calling out the communist country's bluff. North Korea silent at the time, but has since flexed its nuclear missiles with several missile launches this year. Also flexing diplomatic muscle in North Korea. This video just in overnight showing the former NBA star Dennis Rodman arriving in Pyongyang to meet with Kim Jong-un. His purpose there still unclear. Rodman only telling reporters he's just trying to open a door. Rodman has visited that country at least 4 times, once bringing former NBA players to play against North Korea as a birthday gift for Kim Jong-un. There you go.
Let's hope he's very, very careful with that door. Meantime, Tiger Woods is heading back to rehab as he faces the possibility of losing joint custody of his 2 young children. Woods reportedly reserving the entire male inpatient unit at the Jupiter Medical Center near his Florida home. Now, the professional golfer was busted, you'll remember, last month with a DUI after taking prescription drugs. Woods' ex-wife, Erin Nordegren, I should say, is allegedly threatening to pull the plug on their children's custody agreement if he does not shape up. And it is Ellen, right?
It's Elin.
Elin.
Yeah.
Elin.
It's a different name. I think Swedish, I think. Yeah. All right, a firefighter lucky to be alive after being engulfed in flames.
Scott! Get him, get him, get him! Come on, Scott, go, 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 go! Get your jacket off.
Amazing body camera footage there, capturing the moment that the propane tank exploded. This happened in Maine. The volunteer firefighter getting caught in the flames as you continue to see them shoot out.
That is horrifying. That firefighter treated for first and second degree burns to his face, we are sad to say, but thankfully he is still alive.
Yeah. Quick thinking. And speaking of some quick thinking, always on her toes, Janice Dean is standing by in the Weather Center where we have some more potential severe weather to talk about and heat.
Absolutely. Both big stories today. The potential for strong to severe storms across the high plains today, where we have clash of the two air masses. Very warm weather ahead of the front and very cold enough for snow across the higher elevations. So that system is moving eastward, bringing a threat for large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes across the upper Midwest down through portions of Texas. Again, not the threat that we saw yesterday in terms of tornadoes, but we're still going to see the hail and the damaging winds. Certainly, we had 3 dozen reports of tornadoes yesterday. The other big story, as Heather mentioned, is the extreme heat along the East Coast, really as far west as east of the Rockies, and that's going to be ongoing through Wednesday. We have a front that's going to move through that's going to bring those continued temperatures down, especially for D.C. and New York City, Columbus and Chicago. You're going to remain hot, but the Northeast, we're going to get down towards seasonal averages. So a quick shot of heat and then back to regular temperatures as we head towards the end of this week. Back to you, Rob and Heather.
It is hot outside, Janice. Thanks so much.
Back to regular temperatures.
Regular.
Thanks.
All right, 5:37 now here on the East Coast. A top Democrat admitting her concerns after James Comey reveals that former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, underneath Obama, asked him to call the Clinton email investigation a matter.
I would have a queasy feeling, too, though, to be candid with you.
Well, Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert here to weigh in. Coming up.
And a Photoshop fail now coming with some consequences. The punishment that the yearbook advisor is now facing for removing student support for the president.
All right, a top Democrat admitting her concerns after James Comey revealed that Obama's Attorney General Loretta Lynch asked him to call the Clinton email investigation not an investigation, but a matter instead.
I would have a queasy feeling, too, though, to be candid with you. I think we need to know more about that. And there's only one way to know about it, and that's to have the Judiciary Committee take a look at that.
So will there be an investigation? Let's ask a member of the House Judiciary Committee, Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert. Thank you so much for joining us bright and early this morning.
It's great to be with you.
So does it also give you a queasy feeling? What do you think should happen?
Listen, the thing that gave me a queasy feeling was the last 8 years under the Obama administration trying to figure out a way that we could get to the truth on Fast and Furious and so many other scandals. I mean, where people actually lost their lives, like Brian Terry. And I have great respect for Adam Schiff, but I heard the play of the tape earlier where he said, you know, if the president fired Bob Mueller, then Congress would immediately come back and appoint Mueller as an independent counsel. Our time, and I don't know what Constitution and does not have. We can recreate the special prosecutor statute, which doesn't exist right now, but look, I was shocked to read yesterday a Molly Hemingway article. I didn't realize Patrick Fitzgerald the most abusive special counsel ever appointed. He knew the answer the day he took over, apparently, that Richard Armitage leaked Valerie Plame's information about being CIA. And not only did he not drop it, he expanded. Comey pressured John Ashcroft to recuse himself when I don't think he should have, but he did, so Comey could get his child's godfather, godfather Fitzgerald in as special counsel. Comey is dirty, Mueller is dirty. The two of them, what they did to Stephen Hatfield is outrageous.
We don't have a lot of time. Let's get back on topic here. No, and thank you for that. I mean, obviously, you know, everything's so political right now. We had Pelosi come out and say that it's really not a big deal after making all of this stink about the Russia investigation. Do you give Dianne Feinstein some credit for doing the right thing in this situation and saying, hey, there needs to be an investigation into this?
Well, she has said that, and I hope that there will be, there should be. She's exactly right about that, but there needs to be more than an investigation. We now know there is no collusion with this administration in Russia, so we can drop the independent counsel, the special counsel. There is no further need, and now that we know the collusion between Comey and Mueller, Comey testified. He ran things by Mueller before he testified. He also ran by things by other people in the Justice Department when he did the memo. There's so much collusion,
so
real
what are you
collusion
saying? What are you saying there, though? Are you saying that Mueller should recuse himself from the case completely, or are you saying that now the person that should be under investigation is Comey himself for leaking those memos along with a lot of other issues?
Yeah, first apologize to Stephen Hatfield for destroying his life.
The anthrax case.
And then, in the anthrax, and then recuse himself from this matter. We don't need a special counsel. That was a ruse once again by the dishonest Comey. He did prepare notes after his one-on-one meeting with Bush. He lied about that too. They're just this thing stinks to high heaven.
Let me get one more in with you real quick. Let's just assume for a second, even though the president is denying it, let's assume that he did tell Director Comey that I hope you can get past this, you know, the Flynn investigation with Russia. And then I want to ask you, which is a greater offense? Saying, I hope you can get past this, or Loretta Lynch telling him that you need to call this a matter, not an investigation?
Well, there isn't a greater offense. There is no offense for saying, I hope you can get beyond that. That's not an offense. The president has the power to direct him that this is over, I'm pardoning, that's an end. Obama legally obstructed justice over and over. He has that power as president, but it is a crime for an attorney general to instruct FBI director to lie. So no offense done by President Trump, and a crime to instruct an FBI director to lie. So clearly that's where the offense lies with the former Attorney General.
And you really have to question how Comey really truly felt. If it really made him feel so uneasy at the time, then why did you wait till after you were fired?
Exactly. And if he and the others at the Justice Department with whom he colluded had felt like there had been an obstruction of justice, then they conspired to violate the law by together holding that back so they could blackmail him later. Obviously, they didn't think there was an obstruction of justice. Even after reading the memo and colluding with Comey, they just put that back as a marker where they could try to smear the president later. So there was no crime here. They know that.
Congressman, thank you so much for coming on this morning. We
Great
appreciate
being with you.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm back tomorrow after session starts today.
That's right. Thank you. We'll be right back.